You're not ready to end it all. You're just in your luteal phase. Let me explain. So this is a cycle phases. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend you grab one. Matter of fact, if you want to screenshot this one, I'll move out of the way. Got it? All right, so I like to use this to monitor where I am with my cycle and just to kind of understand what's going on with me. So days 1 through 5, that's typically your menstrual cycle. Days 6 through 10, that's your follicular. Days 11 through 18, that's your ovulatory. And then day 19 through 28, that is your luteal. So today, sorry for making myself so super big, we're going to focus on luteal. So that is day 19 through 28. If you don't know how to keep up with this, I highly recommend an app. Just type it in your app store, like monthly cycle, period, something like that. Download it and start tracking it. Some ladies know how to do it with paper and pencil and write it down. So your luteal phase, days 19 through 28. Now the hormones that are at work during this time, if you're not pregnant, your progesterone will rapidly decrease. You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel like ending it all. You're going to feel like, what's the point? You're just going to be a whole hot mess up here in the brain. And that is okay. Try not to make huge decisions during this time. Try not to do really big, time-consuming, stressful launches, new projects, buying a home, buying a car, things like that. Try not to lash out at your babies. Try not to go off on your boss or your coworkers, because this is just a phase. Now, what you can do during this time is the mundane or repetitive tasks like organizing files or updating reports. Basically, you don't want to be doing anything that's going to get you fucked up. Okay? So it wasn't until I seriously started tracking my cycle and paying attention to the different hormones that are going on during that time that I finally started understanding my body. I also started doing other things for my body during times of the month when I'm going through these different phases. So during this time, what I tend to do is I slow down, I journal, I make some plans. I do things like maybe purging my closet or cleaning or going for walks. I walk every day, but especially during this time, I just like to slow down, and I will remind myself this is just this part of my cycle. It is going to pass. So don't make any crazy decisions. Don't think that you have to end it. If you do have those type of thoughts, please, 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 please contact your therapist, contact a friend, contact the suicide hotlines that are out here. Do something. But I want you to be aware that you have these hormones, you have this cycle that is going on within you, and you need to tend to yourself in different ways throughout your cycle. So up next is going to be the menstrual phase. So like and follow for more. Girl, you are not lazy. You just hit the menstrual phase of your cycle. Let me explain. So the reason for this is because you are in your menstrual phase. This is also when you are bleeding. So this is typically days 1 through 5, like the chart says. Usually 1 through 5 does not have to be hard or fast. So what's going on with your hormones during this time? Your estrogen levels are rising slightly, and your progesterone levels are dipping, just like we talked about in the previous video about the luteal phase. That goddamn progesterone. This is what leaves you feeling low on energy, sluggish, but you're thinking about things, like the wheels are turning. I don't know if you've paid attention to yourself during this time. Once I started seriously tracking my cycle, I started noticing where I was. So this is probably where you do a lot of journaling. Even though you are bed rotting during this time, you're just really thinking, you're reflecting on conversations, you're reflecting on some things that you want to get accomplished, probably your goals, things like that. Now, regarding productivity, analytical tasks, a great time for solo projects, proofreading, reviewing data, assessments, goal setting. If you have something that you want to accomplish, in my opinion, this is the best time to just write them out and be thinking about them. You don't necessarily have to be executing right now, but you can be thinking about them and putting pen to paper and really making some plans. Usually during this time, I like to spend a lot of time by myself, as much as I can. That does not always happen. My schedule does not always allow for that. But as much as I can, I like to spend time by myself. I like to have my journal. I like to be thinking about some goals that I have, that I want to get accomplished once I am out of my period or bleeding phase, right? Also, during this time, I'll say this, with my period, I like to sync my schedule as much as possible to my period. For example, usually during my luteal and my menstrual phase, I schedule for my housekeeper to come because I'm already low on energy. I'm probably already moody. I'm probably already snippy and snappy. And taking cleaning off of my plate for that week is a huge help. Now, usually during my follicular and my ovulatory phase, I'm good to go. I can clean the house. And usually my house don't get that dirty. So if I'm cleaning it, it's like touching up and tidying. So I like to save when I know my energy is very, very low. I like to save that for the housekeeper. Also, when it comes to being a mom, when I am in my luteal or my menstrual phase, that's where we do more focused activities like coloring, reading, taking a walk. I'll take her to the park and play with her. So I'm not like super energetic and I'm chasing her around the park and things like that, and I've just got all this energy. No, I know during that time, my energy is going to be a little bit low. So we're going to do things where we're coloring, writing, reading, or walking. And I do this for me and I do this for her because I still want to get that mom-daughter time in. But I know that if I push my body, I'm going to be snippy. I'm not going to be a lot of fun. But I also apply this to other areas of my life. I've gotten to where I organize my work in the same manner. So don't end it. You are just in your menstrual phase and it will be okay. So like and follow for more. The follicular phase is up next. So you're finally starting to feel yourself again, right? Welcome to the follicular phase. I like to refer to the follicular phase as you are finding your will to live again. The follicular phase, that's a mouthful, is typically days 6 through 10, or usually days 6 through 10. It's not a hard or fast thing. Now, the hormones that are at play during this time, the hypothalamus releases FSH, estrogen and progesterone levels are starting to rise again. Your energy and motivation is back. It is rising along with it. So how we talked about in the menstrual and the luteal, your progesterone, I never say that right, progesterone, whatever, is basically on the floor. Okay? Your will to live is non-existent, damn near. You're bed rotting. You're questioning life. You are like ready to end it all. But that's why I wanted to do this mini series on your hormones and your cycle so that you will know what is going on. So during this follicular phase, you want to do more focused work, creative work, or some learning. This is a great time to do some research, to do some online courses if you're feeling like learning something, or doing some writing. Like I mentioned in the previous video, during the period bleeding phase of your menstrual cycle, I like to try to tailor my schedule as much as I can to my menstrual cycle. So the follicular phase is when I am starting to come back alive again. And I really start feeling hopeful. I'm feeling creative. So all of those things that you were writing down during your menstrual cycle when you were very, very reflective, even during your luteal phase when you were just kind of doing some repetitive tasks, some things may have come up for you. This is probably the time that you can now address those things that you wrote down. That's why I heavily recommend having a journal so that you can go back and refer to those things that you wrote down during your menstrual or your luteal phase. Also, I forgot to mention during the luteal phase video, I start to notice I am my ugliest during my luteal phase. I even feel my ugliest during my menstrual phase. I'm actually going to look more into why this is, but I don't typically have that glow that I usually have, that youthfulness, that vibrancy basically to my skin that I usually have. If I stare too long at myself in the mirror, I'm like, girl, this is not what we look like. But I know I'm not ugly. It's just, you can tell that there are some hormones at play, but this is all phases, and just take heart. Don't do anything crazy. Follicular is where you start to come back to life. You start to have the will to live again. So up next is the ovulatory phase. So like and follow for more. You want to send that risky text, don't you? I know you do. And I know what phase you in. You are in the ovulatory phase. Probably my favorite phase. Next to the follicular. But I've also grown fond of my menstrual phase as well. Now, the ovulatory phase. Girl, you are feeling frisky. Damn near every man you come across, you want to do some things. It could be your man. It could be any man. But you are just hot and ready. You can smell their cologne. You picking up on their scent. Everything you think about throughout this phase just makes you wonder, what in the heck? I don't normally think like this. Well, welcome to the ovulatory phase, my dear. The ovulatory phase. This is typically or usually days 11 through 18 in your menstrual cycle. So the hormones that are going on during this time is your estrogen and your testosterone levels are peaking in this phase, making you feel very social and very confident. Very social indeed. But be careful, wrap it up. Now, the productivity tip for this one is engage in group work, attend conferences, networking events, have interviews, and even have some of those tough conversations that you have been meaning to have. I can attest to, during this time, confidence level being through the roof. It's like everything is falling into place. Makeup is popping, outfits, you're feeling comfortable in your body, you're feeling confident in your body, you're just feeling sexy. You are just feeling like humping, okay? And that is the testosterone that is coursing through your body and wanting to make you jump on your man as soon as he walks through the door. Be careful in this phase though, because your baby making skills are also very, very high. Now, there are some women that experience a lot of pain during their ovulatory phase of their menstrual cycle. The name escapes me right now. I think it's like a German name for it, but it's like it is a severe pain. Some women, they have to lay out on the floor. They have to take some type of pain medication to help them through this time. I have experienced it before. Usually the first or second day of my ovulatory phase, it hurts. But it's nothing to be alarmed about. I've asked my OBGYN personally, if you still feel like it's something you want to address with your OBGYN, please, by all means, do that. But there is a name for it, and it does, hurt a little bit. But for the most part, after that, you are feeling frisky. You are feeling fine. You are just feeling yourself, and you've got this glow about you. I absolutely love this phase. All right. Like, if I had to number how I love my phases, and this is new for me, like not the phases, but this is a new order for me. So ovulatory used to be top favorite. But the more that I have learned about the bleeding phase of my cycle or my period is during my bleed. After that, I would say the period is first, ovulatory is second, follicular is third, and then luteal is fourth. So I just wanted to do this short little mini series on our hormones just so that you get very comfortable with what your body is doing at certain times of the month. And I want you to apply it to your life, because a lot of the times as women, we go through life on kind of autopilot and we're not really engaging with our body. We're not listening to what our body is saying. There are also, I've seen some guides on Pinterest that show you the best way to eat during your cycle. I can attest for myself, when I am during the ovulation stage, I don't require much. I want light, salads, fruits, things like that. But I have seen some guides that show you how to nourish your body during your menstrual cycle. I take my iron every day just because I've historically had low iron, but I also make sure, especially during my bleed time, I am taking my iron because it's already low, and during that time it can feel even lower, right? So I hope that this has helped. I hope that you like and follow for more. Anytime that I learn or grasp something, I definitely will share it with you guys. So like and follow for more, and tell me what you thought about this series, and please add anything extra to this that you know of. Y'all take care.